Hello everybody, I am Tom and you are watching me play Baldur's Gate 3. Today's video we're going to go over the races of Baldur's Gate 3, particularly the ones available in early access. I did a speculation video on these about a week ago, but now the game is out, as you can see, in all its glory, so I can actually go over them more specifically, starting with the High Elf. Heirs of the mystical Feywild, High Elves value magic in all its forms. Even those who do not study spellcraft can manipulate the weave. And you get to choose a cantrip, which is a level 0 spell, effectively. You can use these whenever you want. The default, apparently, is Minor Illusion. Creates an illusory image that distracts nearby creatures, compelling them to investigate. But we have all of these to choose from, that's kind of insane. Acid Splash, hurl a bubble of acid that deals acid damage. Blade Award, gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from weapon attacks. So essentially, any weapon attacks. Chill Touch, it's a necromancy spell. Assign a creature with the Chill of the Grave. It takes 1d8 necrotic and cannot gain hit points. Undead creatures also get disadvantage on attack rolls. That's actually interesting. That is a range of 18 meters. I was under the impression this spell was a touch spell, but maybe I'm wrong. Either that, or they've just added range to it to make it better. Dancing Lights. Create wisps of light that illuminate a 12-meter radius. Concentration required here, worth noting. Firebolt. Pretty solid cantrip, to be honest. You just throw a bolt of fire, it does 1d6 fire damage. We have Friends. Enchant non-hostile creatures to gain advantage on charisma checks against them. So effectively you can cast this on someone before you try and persuade them or something, or whatever. Next we have the Light. So you just create light. Mage Hand. Create a spectral hand that can manipulate and interact with objects. Very, very useful. Minor Illusion we've already got. Poison Spray. Project a buff of noxious gas that deals 1d12 poison damage. That's a 3-meter range, so it's relatively close range. Ray of Frost. You inflict cold damage. Not that difficult to understand. Shock and Grasp is lightning damage, but you have to be like right next to them. You have to actually grab them and then turn yourself into a stun gun, effectively. And then we have True Strike. Divine a character's defenses to give you advantage on attack rolls against it. So essentially you can just give yourself advantage on something. The problem with this spell I always find is the fact that it takes an action. So you could have just attacked them twice in that time, but you know, it's each down to their own. Nevertheless, looking at the race features, we have keen senses, so you have proficiency in the perception skill. Fey Ancestry. The Feywild casts a veil over your mind. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep. You have a dexterity of +2, which it tells you what dexterity is here, which is nice. Dexterity influences your chance to land a hit, attack roll, and your damage with dexterity-based weapons. It also influences your chance of going first in combat, initiative, and the enemy's chance of hitting you, armor class. As you can see, dexterity is pretty damn good. You gain proficiency in long swords, short swords, longbows, and short bows. You also have dark vision, up to 12 meters. And for the High Elf specifically, you also get, interesting, a boost in speed up to 9 meters and an intelligence +1. That's intriguing. I thought this was a Wood Elf thing, but we'll see. Next we have the Wood Elf. You don't get a spell as the Wood Elf, but you get Keen Senses, Fey Ancestry. These are all, we've gone through these. These you get for being an elf. Subrace, so your base walking speed is 10.5 meters. Interesting, so it is longer. You get Mask of the Wild. You erase and blend in with natural environment. You gain proficiency with stealth. That's a much better thing to have for Mask of the Wild, by the way. That's changed from base D&D, and that is much better. It's perfect. And you get a +1 to your wisdom. So we just have High Elf and Wood Elf for there. And now we can move on to the Tiefling. That looks really cool. So, bound to Nessus, the deepest layer of the Hells, these Tieflings inherit the ability to wield fire and darkness from the Archdevil Asmodeus' infernal bloodline. So you get Hellish Resistance. Your blood protects you from flame, abyssal or otherwise. You have resistance to fire and take only half damage from it. And next you have Dark Vision up to 12 meters. All of my things are going to be in metric, by the way, just because it's what I'm most familiar with. I mean, I can put it in Imperial. If you want me to put it in Imperial, I'm fine to do that. Because I can work with feet very easily. And if it's better for American viewers, which I think most of you probably are, I can do that. Nevertheless. Subrace traits. Base racial speed. The distance you move is 9 meters. Interesting. So they give you the racial speed of everybody. And that's only relevant because some of them have different speeds. Okay, I guess that makes sense. And you get +1 into intelligence and +2 into charisma. Intelligence, wizard use intelligence for their spellcasting ability, and likelihood spells will land. Charisma, bards, paladins, sorcerers, and warlocks use charisma as their spellcasting ability, the likelihood spells will land. And next sub-race, also you get a cantrip here, by the way, which is just thaumaturgy. You get thaumaturgy. Next we have Mephistopheles Tiefling. That looks really cool. I like it a lot. Descent from the Archdevil Mephistopheles, these tieflings are granted with particular affinity for arcane magic. That makes sense. Mephistopheles is kind of like a trickster devil. You get Hellish Resistance, that's the same. Dark Vision is the same. Same base movement, and you get 1 into Intelligence, 1 into Charisma, but you get Mage Hand rather than Thaumaturgy. Interesting. So it kind of changes what cantrip you get. That's certainly interesting. And we get another one. We get Zariel Tiefling. That is intriguing. Zariel is an angel. She used to be a Solar, but she's now an Archdevil. Tieflings from Zariel's bloodline are empowered with martial strength and can channel Searing Flame to punish their enemies. Hellish Resistance, Dark Vision as normal, and you get same speed, and you get Strength and Charisma. Interesting. So Strength influences the chance you land a hit, and your damage with Strength-based weapons. It affects the distance you can jump and the weight you can carry. That's kind of cool, actually. Length of jump, I don't know if length of jump is in normal D&D. I don't think it is. You also get Thaumaturgy on Zariel Tiefling. Is that it for the Tieflings? It is. Cool. Moving on now, we can go to the Drow. Did I read the Zariel? I did. Drow. The Lolthsworn. Interesting. Raised by Lolth cult in the city of Menzo Berenzan. That's better. These Drow extol the virtues of those of their corrupt and merciless goddess. Lolth marks their followers with bright red eyes, so the Underdark will learn to fear Drow on sight. Yeah, fair. And racial features. You have 9 meters walking speed, Fey ancestry, so same as elves, dexterity +2, charisma +1, rapier proficiency, short sword proficiency, hand crossbow proficiency, and superior dark vision, so you can see up to 24 meters, which is double what the normal ones are. You also get the dancing lights cantrip, which I always thought was a bit weird. You can have, like, amazing dark vision and they give you the ability to create light, but whatever. And apparently we have another one. The Soldarine. Interesting. So, Drow are the result of an ancient schism between the elven deities Corellon, Larathian, and Lolth. The latter's treachery drove the Drow into the Underdark, where they splintered into warring factions. Soldarine Drow can be found seeking allies from all over Faerun, aiming to settle their conflict with Lolth, and each other, by any means necessary. So they are exactly the same. They're exactly the same as far as their bonuses are concerned. They're just different when it comes to, I guess, the lore of their backstory. Which makes sense, I suppose. And next we have a human. Human is pretty much the basic bitch of what you can get, but the most common face to see in Faerun, humans are known for their tenacity, creativity, and endless capacity for growth. And you get base racial speed is 9, and everything goes up by 1. That's a quick one to go through. Next we have Githyanki. Githyanki are peerless warriors from the astral plane. Known for their legendary silver blades and red dragon mounts, they seek the total destruction of mind flayers, their ancient empire, enslaved the Githyanki for millennia. Yep. Base speed of 9, intelligence +1, strength +2, so very, very good for an Eldritch Knight if you're going to go for one. Light armor, medium armor, short sword, long sword, and great sword proficiency. You also get the Mage Hand, spell, but it's the specific Githyanki Psyonix version, which means yours is invisible, which is good to know. Next we have the Dwarf. Interesting. So they've got Gold Dwarf and Shield Dwarf? Yeah, okay. Gold Dwarves are known for their confidence and keen intuition. The culture of their deep kingdom values family, ritual, and fine craftsmanship. You have Dwarven resilience, so you have resistance against poison, and you have bonus to your saving throw when you are trying to get poisoned, as in the condition. So you have resistance to the damage, and you're less likely to get the poison condition. You get Constitution +2, which affects your health. Battle Axe proficiency, Hand Axe proficiency, Light Hammer proficiency, and Warhammer proficiency. And you get Dark Vision up to 12 meters. And as a sub-race, you get Dwarven Toughness. Your hit point maximum increases by 1, and increases by 1 again every time you gain a level. So you, essentially you get 1 extra hit point per level. You only have 7.5 meters as your base racial speed, so you're slower than most other races. And you get a +1 into your wisdom, which is good for druids, rangers, and clerics for their spells. And then we can go to the Shield Dwarf. Shield Dwarf survived a long fall from grace, surrendering many of their ancient kingdoms in wars with goblins and orcs. These losses have led to a cynical mindset, yet Shield Dwarves will endure anything to restore their ancestral homelands. So the racial features are the same, but the sub-race features: same speed, strength +2, light armor proficiency, and medium armor proficiency. It's quite good. Next we have the Half-Elf, and we do have sub-races here, which is interesting. A touch of the Feywild remains in Half-Elves with their bloodline, and even those untrained in magic possess a hint of the wild power. So you get a cantrip. These are, I think, exactly the same as the elf cantrips. Yes, they are. Yep. So you get the same choice of cantrips as you do if you choose an elf. You then get to improve 2 abilities of your choice. This is for the high half-elf. 2 abilities of your choice you can add 2 to. You also get Fey Ancestry. So, same as your elven parent, you gain advantage against being charmed, and magic cannot put you to sleep. You gain +2 into your charisma. Worth noting here that you can't stack all of it into charisma. You notice here you can't choose charisma to improve here. So you get +2 in charisma, and then +1 in 2 others of your choice. Dark Vision at 12 meters, and the sub-race benefit isn't really a sub-race benefit, as far as I can tell. The high half-elf doesn't get anything that the others don't, I don't think. And then you have a wood half-elf. Interesting. Like their wood elf parent, these half-elves have a quickened stride and eye for stealth, yet many break away from this isolation in Faerun's forest to explore the rest of the realms. So you get Mask of the Wild, proficiency in stealth. Interesting. So I guess the high half-elf gives you a cantrip, whereas the half-wood elf gives you Mask of the Wild. That's cool. So it's like taking from the parent subclass. Do we have another? You do. Drow half-elf. So Drow half-elf, you get Dancing Lights just by itself. And aside from that, everything else is the same. Most half-drow result from liaisons between Seldarine drow and surfaces. While half-drow inherit a few magical gifts, they aren't usually raised in the Underdark. And that's it. So lastly, we have the Halfling. Lightfoot halflings are stealthy, but social, travelling all over Faerun to make names for themselves. You have Lucky. When you roll a 1 for an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can re-roll that die and must use the new roll. That means that if the new roll is also a 1, you still have to use it. They get a +2 into dexterity. And for sub-race, they are naturally stealthy. You have proficiency in stealth checks. Base racial speed, you're slightly slower than most other races, because you're quite short. And charisma +1. Then moving on, we have the Strongheart halfling. Legends say Dwarven blood gave Stronghearts their hardiness. Resistance to poison and wellsprings of endurance, these halflings easily hold their own. So, race features. Lucky, same. Dexterity, the same. Strongheart resilience, you gain advantage on saving throws against poison, and resistance to poison damage. So, same as the dwarves. And base racial speed, you're a bit slower than the average, and you have +1 into constitution. And with that, we've done them all. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Up today is also going to be a video on all the classes. Also, probably the first episode of my Let's Play is also going to be up today, so there's going to be a lot of stuff. If you want to see all of the appearance stuff, that's going to be done in the Let's Play. But I'm going to have a separate video for racing class. But, that's it. Thanks, guys.